Welcome students to the online study. We will see the explanation of poem number 1, A Photograph, composed by Shirley Tolson. Now this is a very amazing poem, very emotional poem about a photograph. The poet recalls the past incident and the past memories of her mother by looking at a photo. This photograph is discussed in this entire poem. Let's see the explanation of stanza 1. The photograph pasted on the cardboard shows two girl cousins named Betty and Dolly. They went paddling in the sea, holding the poet's mother hand. These two girls named Betty and Dolly, they held the hand of poet's mother and they paddled on the waves of the sea, on the seashore. The eldest girl, the poet's mother, was of 12 years at that time. Now see, the eldest girl, the poet's mother, was near about 12 years old. Betty and Dolly was much younger than the poet's mother. They were enjoying a sea holiday. They had been to the beach and they were enjoying their holidays. During that time, their uncle had a camera to take their photographs. Now, when we also go to visit such places, we click photographs. We take photographs of that particular moment and capture that particular moment as our best memories. So similarly, their uncle had a camera by which he had taken the photograph of these three girls. All the three, the two younger girls and the poet's mother, stood still facing the camera. Now they were on the beach. They posed, or they looked still in front of the camera. They pushed their heads to smile. If you have ever been to a beach, you can see or you can observe that the wind is blowing very fastly. The speed of the wind is very fast nearby the sea. So what happened? This made their hairs scattered on their face. And when they looked in front of the camera, they were smiling. Their hairs were scattered on their face. The photograph has three smiling faces. One of them was the face of the poet's mother. See, whenever you are being photographed or someone would take your photograph, what we will do? We just, put on a very, attractive smile on our face. That's the same with Betty, Dolly and poet's mother. They were posing in front of a camera with an attractive smile on their faces. And one of them, in fact, was the poet's mother. She was looking very sweet and charming. Remember that this photograph had been taken by their uncle during the time when the author or the poet's mother was 12 years old. That means she was quite young. She was almost a child on that time. The photograph was taken before the birth of the poet. This photograph about the poet's mother is taken before the birth of the poet. Now, after many years, she happened to see the photograph of her mother's childhood, especially when they were on a sea holiday. Now see here, Betty, Dolly, and the poet's mother, they are facing the camera. Behind them, there is the location of the sea. Behind them, they can see the endless sea. They can see the vast sea. They can see the sky and the sea behind them. So the location is that behind them are the waves of the sea, and they were paddling on the waves that came on the shore. And the waves of the sea washed the imprints of their feet on the shore. Now this usually happens. Nothing extraordinary in this. It is a common fact. When you walk on the seashore, the waves would come and wash the footprints of your feet. The sea appears to have not changed much. There is no change in the water or the waves. Now what happened? The author or the poet gives us the description about the human life and the elements of the nature. Here, the waves of the sea washed their transient feet. That is symbolical that man is subjected to death and decay. Man is a mortal being. But what about the nature? Nature is almost immortal. Now, if that happened with you, you would have visited a seashore, you would have gone to see an ocean, or you have been to any beach. You could have seen the waters, you could have seen the waves, and after 5 years or 10 years, you would have gone back again to that same place, and you would have seen that the water level has gone down, or the color of the sea has changed, or the vastness of the sea is now just shortened. Sea has changed its shape and size. No, nothing like that ever happened. That means the sea, which represents the nature or the elements of the nature, would always remain the same with the progression of time. As the time moves on, there are very less changes brought about in the nature. Nature is immortal. This depicts the immortality of nature, while man is subjected to change. Man is subjected to death and decay and mortality. So the author or the poet gives the comparison of unperishable natural elements and immortal human beings. Now in the second stanza, the poet says that 20 or 30 years later, the poet's mother would laugh at the photo. She would recollect and remember the event, how her cousins Betty and Dolly had dressed themselves for the beach holiday. The author in the second stanza, the poet in the second stanza, recalls that after 30 or 20 years, the poet's mother would behold this photograph. The poet's mother, when she sees this photograph, she would laugh, she would feel happy. She recollects the past pleasant memory. She recalls the beach holiday that she spent with her cousin sisters. Moreover, she would ponder and think about the way Betty and Dolly dressed up for a beach holiday. So she would recollect her past pleasant, happy and good memories when she had gone to a beach. For her, the holiday was a past. For the poet's mother, the holiday was the past. But her happiness and laughter pleased the poet. But the poet and the poet's mother are sad because of the strong sense of loss. Now see here. For the poet's mother, the sea holiday was a past. It has become an incident of past. But for the poet's mother's laugh or laughter has become a past. Now what is the importance here? What is the poet trying to say is, for the poet's mother, the sea holiday was something that she could recall. This was the incident of her past. But for poet, her mother's laughter was the past. It had become a past. Now why the author or the poet is saying so? Because now her mother is dead. She is no more alive. Therefore it is, she says, for her, for the poet's mother's laughter was a past. Both the poet at a time regret and feel a strong sense of loss. Simultaneously, when the picture or the photograph is seen by the poet's mother, she also feels the strong sense of loss. The poet mother lost the happy moments of her childhood, which she enjoyed at the beach. But for the poet, she misses the sweet smile of her mother. Now in the third stanza, the poet says she had also lost the fascinating moment of delight. The mother is no more. In the third stanza, she tells that the mother is no more. She died years ago. She has been dead nearly as many years as the girls in the picture lived. That means she is now missing her mother. She remembers how her mother enjoyed seeing at the photograph. Therefore she misses her mother. The poet has no words to utter. Nothing she wants to speak about the photograph or her mother. She is so sorrow-stricken. She is filled with grief and pain that she lost her mother. The poet is in a fix to make any comment. She is no longer feeling to give any comment. She does not feel that she should say anything about that photograph, that moment, or her mother. The silence of death makes her silence. That means she don't want to remember anything because she is grief stricken. She feels the sorrow in her heart. Now the most important thing is that there is only one photograph. The source is one, but two different experiences. The author's or the poet's mother is delighted. She feels happy. She remembers her pleasant memories of her beach holiday that she spent with Betty and Dolly. But for the poet, that same photograph is a source of grief, sorrow, and unhappiness. And she is so grief-stricken and moved by pain and agony because she had lost her mother forever. Welcome students to the online study. We will see the poem number 2, Wind, composed by Subramanya Bharati. Now let's have the details of this poet. Subramanya Bharati was an Indian writer, journalist, Indian independence activist, and social reformer from Tamil Nadu. It is the southern part of India. He was popularly known as Mahakavi Bharati and a pioneer of modern Tamil poetry. In fact, he was one of the greatest Tamil literary figures of all time. This poem is a wonderful poem written by Subramanya Bharati. Let's see the central idea of the poem. Subramanya Bharati has advised us to be strong mentally and physically. The wind will be our friend when we are strong. Actually, the wind is symbolical to difficulties, hardships, challenges, problems, and struggles. We should encounter them boldly. We should be strong enough to withstand this type of strong winds that comes along the way. See the theme of the poem? The poem inspires us, motivates us to face the challenges and hardships with courage, grit, and firm determination. In the poem, the poet makes an appeal that we should face the challenges and hardships with courage, grit, and our strong determination. If we are strong to face the challenges and hardships, we will never ever fail in our life. Let's see stanza number 1. Wind, come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. Now in the first stanza, the activities that are done by wind is enumerated. In first line, the poet says, wind, come softly. That means the poet is making a request so that wind could slow down its speed. Another appeal that is made by the poet is wind should not break the shutters of windows. It should not scatter the papers. It should not throw down the books from the shelf. So these are the activities that happens when the wind blows strongly. When the wind is so violent and strong, it does damage. It damages things. It causes distraction. So whenever you could have seen in the news, you could have seen in the movies how the strong winds, they destroy everything that comes on their way. So these strong winds breaks the windows or the shutters of the windows. They take along the pages, papers, and all the things which are weak. So the poet is making an appeal, a request not to break the shutters of windows, not to scatter the papers, not to throw down the pages or the books from the shelf. See, the wind did this type of destruction. It threw down all the books from the shelf and tore the pages of the books. Now this is the destructive side of wind. It caused destruction. But the positive side is that it brings rain as well. You know, the heavy clouds of water, how they move. They are moved by the wind. They are carried, the clouds are carried out by the strong wind. And see the second stanza. You are very clever at poking fun at weaklings, frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood, crumbling bodies, crumbling lives, crumbling hearts. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. In the second stanza, the poet is telling that the wind is very clever at poking fun at weaklings. That means the wind is very clever to make the fun of weaklings. Weaklings, that means the person or the thing which are weak, which are not strong. So the wind makes the fun of only weaklings, not the strong, not the one who is strong, but the one who is weak. The wind is clever to make fun of them. Now it says about frail, crumbling houses. If the wind is blowing at a very fast speed, it destroys the crumbling houses. You know, you could have seen the report or the news that in such areas there happened to be a storm or strong wind that destroyed the houses, crumbling houses, weak houses. It destroyed the crumbling doors. Sometimes the wind may carry out or the wind may knock down the crumbling walls, crumbling doors, crumbling windows, crumbling rafters as well. And sometimes the articles and the things which are weak, the wind destroy them. It destroy the crumbling bodies as well. If the bodies are crumbling, weak and frail, then the wind will destroy them. Crumbling lives are destroyed by the wind. Crumbling hearts are destroyed by the wind. And the wind god winnows and crushes them all. The wind god destroy the things and the objects and the lives which are weak. Now here, the important point is that wind is symbolical to challenges, hardships, struggles, problems. So wind is symbolical to tough times of the life. When the tough times of the life comes upon us, when the hardships comes upon us, when the problems comes upon us, if we are weak, we will not able to stand against them. If we are weak, they will destroy our life. If we are weak, we will not able to survive in the midst of hardships, problems, inimical circumstances and situations. So wind is symbolical of challenges, struggles, hardships, problems. But if we are bold, if we are courageous, if we are strong, we will face the wind. That means we will face the hardship. We will face the challenges. We will face the problems in our life. We will face the critical circumstances and situations of our lives. If we are strong, we will face any kind of situation, challenges and circumstances and problems. We will not be scattered by the wind. We will not be destroyed by the wind. We will not be crushed down by the wind. In the stanza number 3, he won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's joint the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. Now in the 3rd stanza, the poet says that wind will not obey what we tell him. Okay, wind is also, considered to be the living object by this poet. It is an animated object in the poem. So the poet says that wind will not obey you. Wind will not obey whatever you say to him. If you will say, do not destroy us, wind, it will not obey. If you say, do not move on that direction, the wind will not obey you. So wind is free to blow at any direction. We are not the one who could direct the wind, who could instruct the wind, who could tell the wind to blow in the particular direction. So that means we don't have control over the wind. We cannot exercise our authority and control over the wind. So if the wind is not obeying us, what we should do on our part, the poet says this: let's build strong homes. That means if wind is against us, we are not to be downhearted or disheartened. What we should do, we should be well prepared to meet wind, to face wind. Let's build strong houses. If our houses are strong, it's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna destroy your houses if your houses are strong. Then let's join the doors firmly. If our doors are wobbly or crumbling or weak, it will be destroyed by the wind. But what if our doors are strong? If we fix our doors firmly, then wind will not damage the doors. Practice to firm our body. That means we should practice to make our bodies strong. If we make our bodies strong, we will face the wind boldly. Make the heart steadfast. Now, steadfast, that means something that is unmovable. So we have to make our hearts steadfast. And if you will do these things, what things or which things? Building strong homes, fixing doors firmly, practice to firm our body, that means strengthening our body, then making a steadfast heart, stable or unmovable heart, then the wind will become our friend. Then the wind will become our friend, not the enemy. If we are strong, wind will be our friend. But if we are weak, wind will be our enemy. In the 4th stanza, the wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. Now see here, best example. It is the very good example that is taken by the poet here. The poet is, elaborating or comparing human lives with fire. Now the types of fire that is enumerated in the poem is 2 kinds of fire. First is weak fire. The fire that is not strong. Okay? It is weak fire. But when the wind blows, it will put off that fire. It will, put off that flame or fire if that is weak. But what happens to the strong fires? When the wind blows, the strong fire roars. The strong fire catches more fire when the wind moves. The strong fire roars and flourishes more. But while the weak fires are put off or extinguished by the wind. So if our lives are like strong fires, no matter how strong wind may blow, we will roar and flourish. But if we are weak, that fire is extinguished, that fire is put off by the strong wind. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. But friendship with the fire seems to be a good option. Friendship with the strong wind is good for us. If we are strong, we will be friends, or else the wind will be our enemy. We praise him every day. We praise him every day. That means we praise our friend. If the wind becomes our friend, we will praise him every day.